Hi there and welcome to Computer Science Lesson 3. This is the lesson on adding strings together as well as removing single strings from letters. So that's what you're going to be able to do at the end of this here. The process of adding strings together is called concatenation. Basically involves taking two or more strings and combining them together. So we're going to look at that first, and then we're going to look at removing letters from strings. So for example here, I've got first name string is equal to Bob and last name string is equal to Jones. And then I've got full name string is equal to first name string plus a space, last name string. Print full name strings, that would produce Bob, there's the space, Jones. So we've concatenated or we've added first name string, last name string, and full name string together. Subtracting strings is really just using the mid-string function to remove a part. So here's an example right here. Full name string is equal to Bob Jones. I get the length of that using the len function. I set a flag, space found equal to no, because we're going to check to see. X equals to 1. You'll notice here I'm using a while loop, and I'm doing a proper while loop, and I'm priming the loop ahead of time. X equals equal to 1. So while X is less than the length, and space found is still no, then character string is equal to mid-string, full string, comma X, comma 1. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at full name string. I'm starting at position X, which is starting at position 1, and I'm taking it one letter at a time. And if that character is equal to space, well, then I set the flag space found string equal to yes, and I set first name string equal to left string of full name string x minus 1, so it removes the first name. And last name string, I use right string, and I remove the last name. You might want to type this in and just sort of see how that works. There's the end of the if, and there's the end of the loop, and it basically just keeps looping through and through and through. And I see that I've made a mistake here. I'm wondering if you can spot it. When you run this, you're going to get yourself into an infinite loop. So be very careful here and see if you can find the error. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Pause the video. Okay, hopefully you had a chance to try that. I've copied what I've got there, and let's see if you can find the mistake. And I know I'm going to run into trouble here. So I'm going to run on debug. And it just continues to run. And the reason for that is inside my loop, I made a critical error. There's a good example of using the debug, so you know that it's going to run. I made a critical error here. I primed my while loop, which you may remember from grade 10, you may not. But you might remember also that inside a while loop, you have to change one of the variables that you're checking. So in here, I never actually changed the value of x, and so it just keeps looking at the very first letter. It never gets to the next one. So I need something like x equals x plus 1 here, so that it goes to the next character. Let's run that on debug now. There we go. And so you'll notice that it pulled Bob and Jones, pulled them apart. It found the space. So there's a little bit of code for finding a space. You might want to, in the future, create a function out of that. Okay. We're going to be using adding and subtracting of strings to build a Pig Latin translator. If you're not familiar with Pig Latin, here's how it works. In words that begin with a consonant sound, the initial consonant or consonant cluster is moved to the end of the word, and A is added, as in the following examples. So beast becomes East Bay, doe becomes O day, happy becomes appy hay, question is Estion quay, star is Arstay, 3 is Ethray. So it's the consonant cluster. In words that begin with vowel sounds, the syllable A is just added to the end of the word. So eagle is eagle A, apple is apple A, orange is orange A. There should be a hyphen in there. Like so. There's a link, and I've posted that in the Schoology as well if you want to see how conversions work and play around with that. So let's begin. We're going to start very simple. We're going to begin by getting your program to change single words that start with one consonant, and we're going to call this Pig Latin version 1. So I just want you to be able to handle words like ball becomes all bay, dog becomes og day, house becomes ausay. We're going to assume that all the words typed will begin with a single consonant, and then we're going to build your program up from there. Here's the pseudocode for that. Remember, it's always a good idea to plan your code out. So here's how that works. We're going to get the word from the user. We're going to remove the first letter. We know already it's a consonant. There's only one. We're going to add a hyphen to the end of the word. We're going to add the first letter removed to the word, and then we're going to add the ending A to this, and then print it. So I'd like you to take a few minutes and try that on your own. Pause the video here. I'm going to show you the solution right away. So pause the video and give that a try on your own. Okay, I hope you've paused the video by now. I haven't just jumped straight to the solution. Here it is, the solution. So we're going to input, enter a simple word in the English language, call that word string. The length of that is determined and under length. First string is equal to left string, bracket, word string, comma 1, so that gets the first letter. The rest of the word is called rest string. We're going to go right string, word string, length minus 1, so that way if length, if it's a 5-letter word, then I take the last 4 letters, that becomes the rest. And AY string is automatically set to AY. And pig word is rest, so the rest of the word plus the hyphen, plus the first letter, plus AY string, and then it prints it out. So if you didn't get that right, you can copy that out. And I'd like you to save that as Pig Latin version 1. We're going to be using that in some future lessons. There is no assignment for this lesson.